Y'all, there was a huge AlexMurdaugh update in the past day or two. It's still ongoing, but this was sent to me by some of you, the viewers, asking for my opinion on this. And I looked at this. I just read this article with Ariel, my girlfriend, and we couldn't believe it. Let me just to start, I'm going to go ahead and read the article we read. It's a WYFF4 news article. Okay. Some of you may know about this already. I'm sure most of you probably do. Some of you may not. So I'll go ahead and read this article, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it and just talk about some things. As soon as I read this article, I got to talking to Ariel. I was like, I thought about some other things we've covered and some things, just some information we've got about Murdaugh and just some communications that were happening with Murdaugh and his lawyer and things. And it really got my mind jogging. And I started to put some things together. So I'm going to talk to you about that and just my opinions there. But let's go ahead and read this article just to kick this off. The headline reads, AlexMurdaugh defense team releases newly released evidence amid call for new trial. The attorneys for convicted double murderer AlexMurdaugh have released newly discovered evidence and filed a motion for a new trial. On Tuesday morning, Murdaugh's attorneys released a recent filing to the Court of Appeals, as well as a request to the South Carolina U.S. Attorney to open a federal investigation into the violation of AlexMurdaugh's civil rights. And the motion centers around the clerk of court. The motion said Rebecca Hill, the clerk of court, tampered with the jury by advising them not to believe Murdaugh's testimony and other evidence presented by the defense, pressuring them to reach a quick guilty verdict and even misrepresenting critical and material information to the trial judge in her campaign to remove a juror she believed to be favorable to the defense. What? The motion said that Hill instructed jurors not to be misled by the evidence presented in Murdaugh's defense. It goes on to say the following. She told jurors not to be fooled by Mr. Murdaugh's testimony in his own defense. Ms. Hill had frequent private conversations with the jury foreperson, a court-appointed substitution for the foreperson the jury elected for itself at the request of Ms. Hill. During the trial, Miss Hill asked jurors for their opinions about Mr. Murdaugh's guilt or innocence, and Miss Hill invented a story about a Facebook post to remove a juror she believes might not vote guilty. Miss Hill pressured the jurors to reach a quick verdict, telling them from the outset of their deliberations that it shouldn't take them long. Ms. Hill did these things to secure for herself a book deal and media appearances that would not happen in the event of a mistrial. Ms. Hill betrayed her oath of office for money and fame. Once these facts are proven, the law does not allow the court any discretion about how to respond. It must grant a new trial. Wow. Wow. That is crazy. There's South Carolina for you. I'm sorry, but wow. Ultimately that doesn't change anything about whether AlexMurdaugh did it or not, whether he's guilty or not guilty, but just that's just unbelievable to read about Rebecca Hill and what she did there. That is a huge fumble of this trial in this case. And assuming that they can prove all of these things, like they say they can, there's going to be a new trial. There's going to be a whole new trial. I can't believe this is about to happen all over again. That is wild. I'm still wrapping my head around that. Are you? What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm just kind of reacting like everyone else. But, one thing I started thinking about, we covered this a few AlexMurdaugh videos back. If you're new, this is your first video you're ever seeing of mine. We cover AlexMurdaugh pretty heavily on this channel. There's a playlist 30, 40, 50 videos long. So check them out. And I was covering something. We obtained his messages and his call logs. Although there weren't really any calls, but his electronic text messages, you could call them, on his prison-issued tablet, AlexMurdaugh's. And in some of these messages, we were talking about how there was an assistant or a worker, an employee of Jim, AlexMurdaugh's lawyer, Jim's office, keeps messaging on Jim's behalf, sending these messages to Alex saying, hey, Jim says call at 3 today. Hey, Jim really wants you to call at 1 o'clock today. Hey, Jim really wants to hear from you today. Can you please call him? Like 6, 7, 8 times, over the course of a week or two. And, when I posted that video, a lot of comments were saying, sounds like Jim wants his money. Sounds like it's time for, Alec needs to pay up. Jim wants his dang lawyer fees here. Now he's blowing them up, trying to collect. What if this whole time that, this is the information that we're hearing now, that's what's coming out. That's what Jim is finding out. That's what's being put in motion. That's what they're preparing to do. And that's what he's wanting Alec to call him so badly about to discuss this. And then, which also brings to mind, and of course, this is speculation. It's just something to think about for everyone. This new thing, the newest report about Murdaugh right before this, about him getting in trouble in prison, breaking the rules. Of course, he was talking to media, but he was using another inmate's PIN number to make a call, which you're not allowed to do. Usually, if you're new, I've done 10 years in the same exact South Carolina prison that AlexMurdaugh is in now. That same prison system. I've been to that prison, kind of bounced around all over, but I've been in these South Carolina prisons for 10 years, and I just got out about a year and a half ago. So I'm very familiar with how this works and just kind of what they care about, what they don't. The prison staff, they don't really care about enforcing. It is a very common, a daily thing where inmates use someone else's PIN number. They're clearly monitoring AlexMurdaugh very, much more closely. And so they saw that he did that, and he got in trouble for it. I want to know, or just begin to think, is this also somehow related to this new update we're hearing? Was he using the PIN number to try to make a discreet call that he knew wouldn't be leaked in any FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request, which is how we're able to get these photos we've gotten of him inside prison, taken by his tablet, how we've gotten these messages, how we know that he likes to play video games sitting on the toilet, way more than we should know about AlexMurdaugh and what he's up to in prison. Is he trying to avoid all that? This big bombshell he knows is in the works from talking with Jim, and he tried to use that PIN number to really talk about that final important thing about this before this, this was set into motion. That's just what's going through my head. That's what I wonder. It's very interesting, but those are just some thoughts I have. Let me know what you think to all of this, and the things do you agree? Maybe that is what he was doing. Maybe not. There's just so many questions here. I'm in pure reaction mode. It knocked me back when I heard this. We might go through an entire trial with Murdaugh again. And it's funny, I was catching up on the Buster Murdaugh interview, just hearing that soundbite of him saying, well, I think I hold a unique perspective about my dad compared to anyone else. Well, what is that unique perspective? Is it the perspective that you knew that this new trial is likely about to happen, and so everyone's maintaining that Alec is innocent until that's done? I don't know. That's just where my mind goes. I'm no expert and I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. A lot of you have sent me the articles and just asked me, hey, what are your thoughts on this? So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm still wrapping my head around it. I cannot believe this has happened, but wanted to bring you this update in case you weren't aware. And if you were aware, that's how I feel about it. I'm still figuring out how exactly I feel about it. So hope you enjoyed the update. Make sure you subscribe because listen, no matter what happens with this, even if there is a whole new trial, you can guarantee I will be on every update and covering every bit of it all along the way. Have a good day.